How are you?
I'm good, Paul. How you doing? Yeah, Mike's always good for a few quotes, that's for sure.
I had until I read your article, I really had forgotten what that thing was all about. It doesn't seem like Mike Leach has forgotten. So refresh everyone's memory about why did the most successful coach in modern Texas Tech history get shown the door?
Well, if you remember, back in '09, he allegedly told Adam James, a player, Craig James' son, to be put into a equipment shed, and I believe it was a utility closet or an electrical closet when he was suffering from a concussion, that the doctors, trainers had told him to stay out of the light. And so Leach allegedly put him into the dark for several hours. And, I think at one point Texas Tech suspended him, if memory serves me correctly, and then they had asked him to apologize, and he refused to do it. And at that point, the president and AD fired him. But he took Texas Tech to court for wrongful termination, breach of contract, and Texas Tech has sovereign immunity in the state of Texas, so they can't be sued for monetary damages. And he also sued our network and Craig James and a PR firm, and that case was also declined.
Yeah, Mark, a lot of times people let things go after 5 years, 10 years, but based on what he told you, he still hasn't gotten over this, has he?
Nah, he hasn't, and it's prime for Mike's personality. You can sit down and talk to him, try to talk to him about football, and he'll go off on Geronimo and JFK and Pirates and traffic patterns in Atlanta for about 6 hours. So it doesn't surprise me that he hasn't let it go. And it's a lot of money. I mean, it's somewhere between 2.4 and 2.6 million that he's willing to settle for. I think he was due a $800,000 longevity bonus the day after he was fired, and it's another 1.6 million in incentives he says he's owed. But he'll point out, look, I'm being a nice guy here. They actually owe me for 4 more years, but I'm willing to settle. But I certainly don't think Texas Tech is ready to write a check anytime soon.
Talking to Mark Schlabach, that game is later today. Mark, so many things going on in college football right now as we speak. Another bowl game has gone down the drain. It looks like the CFP will go off without a hitch. Just your thoughts as you cover the sport, have for many years, about what is happening right now. There's so many different places to peel this onion, but just starting with the bowl season and how bizarre it has been already.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. The second year in a row that because of COVID, a lot of games are getting canceled, and you really got to feel for NC State and their players and their fans and coaches and everybody else, because the game was canceled, less than 5 hours before it was scheduled to kick off in San Diego tonight. But I think player safety has got to be paramount, and I'm certainly not going to sit here and argue about that on your show. But it's
why not? Everyone else has.
But I mean, even go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, no. Every other guest we've had this week has railed on it. So why not you? But Mark, you're right. I don't know what because the protocols are so all over the place. I'm not really sure what can be done.
No, I mean, look, and it appears that even though the CDC came out and said reduce the quarantine from 10 days to 5 days, the NCAA is not going to act in time where it would affect the bowl games or the playoff. But, it's more than that, though, because some of these schools are in these positions because of opt-outs and transfers and those sort of things. And it just seems that more and more every year the bowl games become more and more meaningless. And if you're not in the playoff, the kids really don't have any interest in playing in the game. And so I think the only way you can correct that is to expand the playoff. And we need to do that as quickly as possible. To see Ohio State's best players opting out of the Rose Bowl has to be pretty alarming for anybody in college football.
But Mark, I know they'll meet in a week and a half in Indianapolis. But based on what we have seen so far, change is coming, but it's not coming quickly. Now, we all heard that, as you remember, in 2011 when Alabama played LSU, and that game prompted action almost immediately. Do you think if we get Georgia and Alabama in the playoff, in the final game, then maybe everybody will say, you know what, maybe we need to change the rules a little bit.
I think it could certainly speed it up some. I mean, that LSU-Alabama game was certainly the tipping point for the Big Ten and Jim Delaney and some others. But, I mean, Greg Sankey seems to have dug his heels in, and he doesn't want anything but 12. Other teams want 8. Other leagues want 8. They need to do something because, like I said, these bowl games that are as much as a part of, some of the games have been as much a part of the tradition of college football as anything, are just insignificant and meaningless. And do we have too many bowl games? I think you can certainly argue that. But, some of these, like I said, if you're not in one of the 2 semis of the national championship game, the bowl games just don't matter. And you've already seen people say the only way to fix it is to pay them NIL money to show up and play. At that point, we're just becoming semi-pro and professional, so I don't know what you do.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.